Aloha and welcome back to another video. This is part 7 of my Max Payne playthrough. Welcome back. If if you're new and if you haven't, definitely click the card and annotation up above in the top right, and definitely watch the previous episodes. Again, this is part 7. We've gotten quite far. Chapter 8 of the first part of 3. Ragnarok is the level we're playing, and if you don't know, Ragnarok is actually Norse legend of the end of times, the world freezing over and people falling into their vices and falling into their aggressive kind of primal side, killing each other and so on. And that fits with the game, because of all the snow and because of the drug use and constant murders and so on.
Given the setting, I was surprised to find that somebody had been passing time reading. The paperback was entitled The Age of Murder and Storm. The blurb on the back mentioned Norse mythos and Ragnarok, the end of a Viking world with a terrible winter that covered the earth in ice, when vile crimes were rampant and all humanity lost. I could see how somebody impressionable might get it into their head that we were at the end of time. I was also beginning to see what the nightclub and its owner were all about.
Exactly, Max. Thank you for filling us in. And that guy's just stacked up with those, with that wine, whatever those crates of wine. I'm guessing they're wine because later on in the game, or in this video, you'll see I shoot some of them. Those ones I don't think you can shoot and stuff comes out, but other ones you can shoot and wine comes out. So, I'm guessing those are wine too, because they look the exact same, but who knows. And see here, I could have died right here and then, but I didn't. I dive back right into where the fire is. You can see my health goes up by quite a bit, but I barely survived that, which is good. And right here, I could have also have died if I didn't remember, hey, you gotta dive. You don't have to dive, but if your reaction time's fast enough. But see right there, I dive just in time, because if you don't, you probably should, but if you don't dive and you don't have a fast enough reaction time, you're just going to get blown away by that guy with that sawed off. So, because he shoots like almost the second he sees you. And there's the cool Ragnarok sign with the neon pink, very reminiscent of the 80s. And speaking of the lighting, I just love the lighting in the game period, reflecting off of things briefly, and kind of the flashing that you see with the gunshots, and how it reflects off of walls, the different kind of glowing effects you see in this level specifically, but in other levels as well. And it all is very much enhanced by the mod that I have installed, which is the HD texture mod.
The room was stacked with light reading, such as Necronomicon, Witchcraft, and Paradise Lost. Old exotic titles like Malleus Maleficarum and Deum Rerum Reini Novum Portus. Books with pentagrams on their covers, all dealing with the occult and the infernal, lying between stacks of horror videos and a couple of Ouija boards. The only thing I could take seriously was the thought of Lupino taking it seriously. He had been spending a lot of time getting intimate with the guy downstairs.
Oh, you mean Sergio, our plumber? Or our, yeah. Anyways, so, and destroy the alcohol. Can't have any of that happening. Anyways, and look, art is in the eye of the beholder. Anyways, and I wanted to talk about, I wanted to kind of expand our conversation, talk more about a serious subject here, which is Max Payne 2. What do I think of it? Do I like it? Do I not like it? How does it compare to the first game? But before I do that, I'm going to have to kind of interrupt here and there to add some commentary. This area over here, you definitely want to go to. There's a few painkillers, 3 painkillers right there, and some ammo for different weapons. Anyways, and Max Payne 2, I quite enjoy. Max Payne 2 is actually up there, probably in my top 10 games, just like Max Payne 1. But Max Payne 1 is likely number 1 on my list, and I died there, I left that death in. Why do I like Max Payne 1 better? What does Max Payne 2 do so well, and what does it do that makes it not as good as the first game? Well, Max Payne 2, I think its story arguably is better. I don't know if I like it better, but I think if anything, it's more magnetic. It's more palatable, and it's more attention-grabbing and seeking than Max Payne 1's story. Max Payne 1's story is simple on the surface, yet it has a lot of nuance once you look further into it in terms of its Norse mythology themes and different themes in terms of how do I put that? The way people cope, the human condition, and the way people cope with death and loss, which Max basically embodies. Max Payne 2's story, on the other hand, is much more complex with with a lot more characters, and it very much represents a film, a modern day kind of thriller compared to. You want to grab these over here, get some Ingram ammo, and I don't think I got it. Did I get a painkiller? No, I think I just got Ingram ammo. I left some of it there, though, because I was filled up. 250 bullets is the max that you can have, that you can carry. But so you don't want to miss out on that. I missed out on that area before, and this area right in here is really fun. I really enjoy it, and I'll talk more about that once I actually blast all of them. Actually, I'll keep talking about it. The cash that flies up in the air, it was dirty money. And see, you can see that the camera normally does pan. Oh, got those painkillers. Better watch out for the guys that are going to be coming around this corner, though. There you go, being shot at. They missed, thankfully, but alerted me to. Thankfully, they missed because it alerted me to where they were. But see, the camera normally pans towards the last guy that you kill in the room when you kill the last guy in a room. But in this area specifically, and this is the only area I can think of when that happens, instead of the normal shot where it shows the guy getting the last guy in the room getting shot, it shows from a top-down perspective exactly that. So that was definitely cool, and I wish the game kind of did that more in other rooms. They don't have to always do it, but more areas like that certainly would have been cool. And sorry about that, I have to pause everything because the audio. Sorry about that. There was an ice cream truck that was going by. Anyways, it was dirty money. Hopefully the audio's not out of sync now. I hate that. This is the third time, as a matter of fact, I've had to record, not to let my secrets out of how I do this, but got to shoot these barrels, show you that there's some wine coming out. Like I mentioned previously, that's cool. Definitely a small detail that a lot of games don't necessarily always have, because it's such a small detail. But small details like that are what make the world of games like Max Payne come to life. And that guy doesn't fall down that trap like he normally does, but here's that trap. Sometimes if you shoot him in the right position, he'll fall into that trap down below. You don't want to fall down there, down that pit either, because look at this architecture. I love that. You'll fall directly down to the first area that we were in just a while back, the first area right at the beginning of this level. Anyways, an ice cream truck went by, and I had to record this whole thing like 3 times there. This whole video 3 times over again, the audio, let alone the actual gameplay. So although these seem simple, not to kind of go on and on about it, but man, I definitely screw them up. For a simple concept, for a simple idea for a video, these ended up being more difficult than I actually originally had intended, and as you know, they take forever to upload. What's cool is, look at that, what's interesting is 2 different shades of windows there, kind of interesting, and I like looking at the scenery around here and looking at those far off, big skyscrapers and office buildings. I almost I left a death in here. You got to be careful. It's easier to just go the simpler path, which I'll go the second time and show you what I mean by a simpler path. And before I mention that, though, look, you got guys shooting down below. I don't shoot him this time, but last time I shot him, and it's interesting because he's always there. It's like he's scripted to be there. It's not as if I missed someone before, I'm pretty sure. I think it's just scripted to be like that. But you can go across here, and it's much simpler. Anyways, but I like to imagine that in those distant buildings, some guy's looking out his window, packing up his stuff for the day, heading home late. He was working late one night, and he looks at the window and sees some guy in a trench coat with a weird kind of constipated face hopping across rooftops like he's in Assassin's Creed or something, shooting bad guys or whatever. Anyways, and we'll shoot this guy, and what's a good tip right here that I don't do very often, but if you land it correctly, it works quite well. Throw a Molotov right here as they're going up the stairs, and if you land it just right, as you can see here, all the guys that run up these stairs will run directly into the fire, which is hilarious. And see, their screams are in sync too. Look at all that smoke. Smells like chicken. And they're all stacked up on top of each other in the same position. That's because their death animations are scripted, as far as I know. And here we're going to get the band back together. We can play some instruments, which is cool. And so yeah, Max Payne 2 story is definitely more complex, and because of its complexity and a lot of the twists and turns and the number of characters there are and character interactions, it's definitely closer to a like modern day thriller action movie. Max Payne's 1 story, because it's more nuanced and simpler on its surface, I'd say it's more comparable to kind of because he's a lone Avenger, taking on the world and getting revenge. It's much more like something like a Lethal Weapon movie or a Die Hard or something like that. And that's not bad either. Both of them have their pros and cons in that sense. And personally, I do like Max Payne 1's story a bit better, but I can't deny Max Payne 2's story and how much it's magnetic and how much it enthralls you on a first-time playthrough. So although Max Payne 1's story is really good, I really think it takes more time to kind of get used to, not get used to, but it takes more time to really pull you in. It might take multiple playthroughs for you to understand all the nuance, and because of that, I think Max Payne 2 story really just works better, right? Max Payne 1, you really have to enjoy more of the game to replay it enough to kind of get the story in its entirety and all the nuances. You don't need to do that to enjoy the story, sure. The story isn't nearly as integral because of its lacking complexity and so on. Max Payne 2, on the other hand, its story is much more like a movie, and because of that, I think it's much easier for people on a first-time playthrough to connect with it, and because of that, I'd say that it's just a more approachable game. I think that's really one of the strongest aspects of Max Payne 2, I think, in my opinion. In my opinion. And did you just hear that scream? That's because up there, he actually ran away from where I was. I guess he was trying to escape, and he ran across that little opening there and fell to his death. There's a little area there that's meant to be for you, and there's these boards that if you don't move across fast enough, you'll actually fall to your death. But he just tripped through and fell to his death for me, basically, so I wouldn't have to go through and worry about that. So that was very nice of him. Thank you very much for sacrificing your life. And we got this set up now. I'm about to call it quits for this video. This video is just about over, but I thank you very much for watching. I'm excited there he is. He fell to his death right there. That's what he fell through. You'll see once I go up there. But I thank you very much for watching. I'm definitely going to talk more about Max Payne 2. First, I talked about the story, differences between Max Payne 2 and Max Payne 1. And next, I'm going to probably talk about different aspects of how the combat and the bullet time changed. And more than just how it's changed, but my opinions on the differences between the two. Thankfully, we made it across there. That could have gone bad otherwise. But anyways, we'll talk later in the next video. I hope to see you then. And thank you so much for watching. Aloha.